Story time about when my best friend set me up to get sexually assaulted. Little background. I got bullied a lot in school because girls are just mean, and boys too. I also did modeling and acting, so kids were really mean about it. I didn't have any girlfriends. I mostly hung out with my twin brother and all of his friends who were super nice to me. Let's call her Anna. Anna was the mean girl. Everyone wanted to be in her good graces, so people would just do what she told them to do. She was funny and she was pretty much friends with everyone. She eventually befriended me. Things were going just great at the beginning, but then rumors started. I didn't know who started them, but I definitely didn't think it was Anna. I went over to Anna's house one night and she was really mean, and I'll do another story time about that. But a few weeks later, she invited me to a party. I show up and it was definitely not a party. It was only a few people. I knew 2 of the girls that were there, but the rest were total strangers to me. She tells all of us to go to her garage. But once we got there, she tells everyone to run out and she locks me inside the garage with this random guy that I don't know. Then he starts trying to kiss me and grab at me. Part 2 is up. Then he tries to kiss me and starts grabbing at me. I pushed him away, ran to the door, and started pounding on it. Well, guess what? I could hear Anna and the rest of her little friends laughing. I begged her to let me out, and she said, but he likes you. He just wants to get to know you. And then they laughed some more. And the guy told me that he liked me and that he's noticed me around school, but that he never got the chance to talk to me. That's when I tell him, but you don't know me and you're trying to kiss me. Then he said that Anna told him that I liked him. I told him I had never even seen him before. Then I started yelling really loud and pounding on the door. Anna opens the door and tells me to shut up because her mom is gonna hear. They just kept laughing. I run to the phone and tell my mom to pick me up. I did not have the courage to tell my mom. I confronted Anna and asked her why she did that. She said I was exaggerating and that they were just trying to have some fun. The following week, I'm in class and I can hear Anna telling a group of girls what had happened. And she was talking loud enough so that I could hear it. Told them that she planned the whole thing and that I fell for it. And worst of all, she started telling everyone that I lost my V card. Part 3 is up. She told everyone in school that I lost my V card all thanks to her. I also overheard her saying that I was so stupid for having fallen for a little plan. Then a girl from my class comes up to me and starts telling me that Anna was talking to some boys, asking them to make anonymous phone calls to my house. When I got home that day, I got a bunch of phone calls. I answered the phone and a boy on the other end said that he was going to do terrible things to me and that he knew where I lived. I started getting weird notes in my locker. Anna would start talking bad about me right in front of me, loud enough so that I could hear, and other people in class would laugh. That's when I decided that I needed to call her mom and tell her everything. I started by talking to Anna's sister. I told her everything and she told me she wasn't surprised. Later that day, I called her house and her sister made sure to answer the phone. I told Anna's mom everything. She made Anna call me to apologize, and I could just hear it in her voice how much she hated it. I asked her why she didn't like me and she really didn't have an answer. Anna actually started following me on Instagram and sent me a DM back in 2018. I didn't answer. I think she's working at a call center now or something like that. Story time about how I caught my dad doing the dirty with my best friend. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. It was sent to me on Instagram. My mom and dad have been married for 30 years. My dad started modeling when he was really young and he still does it to this day. Every single time that I would bring a friend over to my house, they would always talk about how cute my dad is. It never annoyed me at all because I was so proud of my dad, but it really bothered my mom. So out of respect for my mom, I would just tell my friends not to say anything. My mom is definitely the jealous type. My best friend and I have known each other for about 3 years. She was the new girl at school and we became friends, and ever since then we've been inseparable. She always comes over to my house, we have sleepovers, and my family really likes her. My mom even takes her shopping with us and buys her tons of stuff. She always comes with us to get manicures and pedicures and facials as well. A few years ago, my mom told me that my dad was unfaithful to her and it really upset me. Basically, my mom couldn't trust him at all. And ever since then, I've kept an eye on him as well. One day I came home early from work. I see my best friend sitting on the couch with my dad. She was kissing his neck. When they saw me, they got up from the couch. I see my best friend kissing my dad on the neck. And when they both saw me, they jumped off the couch right away. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. It was sent to me on Instagram. My best friend said, "Oh, you're finally home." And my dad literally just walked toward the kitchen like nothing had happened. My best friend walks toward me to give me a hug, but I stop her straight in her tracks. I asked her why she was kissing my dad's neck. She laughs and said, "Of course I wasn't." And then I said, "I just saw it." And she said that she was just thanking him for all the stuff my mom and dad do for her. Right, I was not buying it. My dad didn't even look me in the eyes after that. I decided not to question her any further, but I was really angry with my best friend. After that, I was totally convinced that there was something going on between them. So I decided to set a trap. I told my mom and dad I would be at work all day and that I would be home really late. And I told my best friend the same thing and that I wouldn't be able to hang out with her. I knew that my mom would be at work all day, which meant that my dad had the house all to himself. I said bye to my dad, but I sneaked back into the house and hid in my room all day. Then I started hearing voices. It sounded just like my best friend. I opened my dad's bedroom door and there they are on the bed doing the dirty. Disgusting. Part 3 is I walk in on my dad and my best friend doing the dirty. They had no clothes on and they were doing it in my mom's bed. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. It was sent to me on Instagram. Because I am so intelligent, I recorded the whole thing on my phone. My father had the audacity to yell at me and tell me to get out of the room. I said, no way. Best friend starts dressing herself frantically, begging me for forgiveness. Then my dad tells her to keep her mouth shut. Well, I don't hesitate for 1 second and I send my mom the video that I just recorded. My dad pulls the phone away from me and throws it at the wall. Then he starts trying to negotiate with me. He said, if you don't tell your mom, I will never do this again, I promise. I told my best friend to go downstairs and wait for me on the couch. My dad starts putting on his clothes and by the time he's done, my mom is home. Of course, my mom went off on my best friend telling her how ungrateful she was. She asked my dad for a divorce. A few days later, I get a message from another friend. She tells me that she also did that with my dad. Since then, 4 other women have told me the same thing. They all go to college with me, so none of them are underage, thank God. My dad is begging my mom back, but she doesn't know what to do. We're both just in shock. I see my girlfriend straddling my cousin on a couch, full on making out. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. Because we were inside of a club, there were so many bottles around me. I picked up a bottle and I threw it straight at her back. She turns around and looks at me and quickly gets up. My cousin stays sitting on the couch like the douche he is, and my girlfriend comes up to me, tries to play it off, and just starts laughing. But I was furious. Then she tries to kiss me. I push her and she falls onto the couch. She quickly gets up and tries to punch me in the face. Before I knew it, her and I were just beating each other up and 4 people were trying to separate us. My cousin elbowed some guy by mistake while he was trying to separate us and the guy started punching on him. It was like a ball of 10 people kicking and punching each other. The DJ stopped the music and the club lights were turned on. That's when I knew I had to get out of there before the cops were called. I mean, I did start the fight after all. I saw Stacy's phone on the couch and I quickly grabbed it. Stacy grabs me by the hair again and that's when I see the cops show up. Part 3 is story time about how I caught my girlfriend cheating on me with my cousin. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. Girlfriend and I have been together for 5 months and yes, we are both girls. My cousin, who is a guy, works as a club promoter. He's constantly surrounded by girls, so one night he invited me over to his club. When I got to the club that night, he introduced me to this girl. Let's call her Stacy. Stacy and I hit it off right away. She's an Instagram model and owns her own business. I was totally attracted to her right away. We talked and danced the entire night and after that we were inseparable. We did everything together and she started sleeping at my place and I would sleep at hers. And we started partying with my cousin every single weekend at the club he worked at. After a while, I told Stacy that I just didn't want to go to the club and that I wanted to stay home. But she said she was still gonna go. She started going to the club by herself and after a few weeks I got suspicious. She was really distant and cold. So I did the logical thing. I followed her to the club one night without her knowing. And when I got there, I found her straddling my cousin on a couch, full on making out. It gets really scary and violent from here. Part 2 is up. That's when I see the cops come in and I just started running. Stacy ran right after me. People start shouting at the cops to grab us. I was taken outside and a cop put me inside his car. They did the same thing to Stacy. That's when I started crying because I was really sad at the situation because I really love Stacy. And I never expected my cousin to betray me like that. I apologized to the club manager and the cops and they let me go. When I got home, my cousin was waiting for me at my door. That's when he told me the truth. Stacy and him had been hooking up since before I met her, but she just never stopped hooking up with him. He apologized and left. A few days later, I see Stacy posting on Instagram about her new boyfriend. And it's my cousin. But don't worry, I got revenge. Stacy showed up at my apartment to apologize one night. We ended up getting entangled. Now the question is, should I tell my cousin or should I just continue to see Stacy behind his back? What do you guys think?